Friend, have you ever felt stuck? Like you're sitting in quicksand or mud, weighed down and not sure how to move forward? Well, what if I told you that's exactly where you're supposed to be for growth to begin? Hello, and welcome to Torches, Yoga, and Mindfulness. I'm Lauren, and I'll be your coach. If you're curious about mindfulness, healing, and practical habits that actually work, you are in the right place. Here, we focus on simple but powerful practices grounded in ancient wisdom and modern science to care for both your body and mind. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Last week, we talked about the phoenix and how collapse can be the start of something new. But once we've risen, once the ashes settle, we can feel a little lost. Where do I plant myself? How do I begin again? That's where today's archetype comes in, the lotus. This is a symbol of growth rooted in the mud, yet rising to bloom. So naturally, let's start with the roots. The lotus is one of those symbols that shows up all over the world, and every time it carries this message of growth and transformation. In ancient Egypt, the lotus was tied to the sun itself. It would close at night and reopen in the dawn. So for them, it was like having a living symbol of rebirth and life, death, renewal every single day. In India and Buddhist traditions, the lotus is seen as the sign of purity and enlightenment, of consciousness unfolding, petal by petal. That image of the bloom opening became a way of understanding our own awakening and our own growth towards clarity. Across cultures, there is a theme. The lotus isn't just a pretty flower, it's a reminder that growth comes through challenge. This beautiful blossom only exists because it pushes up through thick, messy mud. The mud isn't an obstacle, it's the foundation. Now, in my practice, I think of the lotus as kind of a liminal being. It doesn't just live in one place. Its roots are deep in the earth, it stretches through water, and then rises into the air. And if you trace it all the way down to the roots, anchored in the warm, hidden soil, there's a fire element in there too. That heat of life, that nourishment. To me, it's like a living metaphor for existing in many realms at once: our physical body, our emotions, our thoughts, and our spirit. So when we think about resilience, the lotus is such a powerful teacher. The lotus doesn't resist the mud, it requires it. The bloom isn't possible without those roots beneath the surface. And maybe the same is true for us as well. Our challenges, our muddy places, they don't cancel out our growth. They're the very being that makes our blossoming possible. And what is really beautiful is that modern neuroscience gives us the same reminder that the lotus has been carrying for thousands of years. When we go through stress, loss, hardship, it doesn't just affect us emotionally, it reshapes our brains too. But that doesn't mean that the reshaping is only negative. Thanks to neuroplasticity, our brains are always changing, always capable of growth. New pathways can form, new connections can grow, even after really difficult seasons of life. Think of the mud as those challenges, the stress, the heaviness, the days that felt cloudy. That's the environment where the roots of resilience grow. In psychology, there's even research showing that people who have faced challenges often develop greater compassion, creativity, and perspective afterward. Just like the lotus, their growth emerged from the mud itself. And just like the stem of the lotus, carrying nourishment from the root to the blossom, our nervous system is constantly moving information from the body to the brain. This is why practices like mindful movement, deep breathing, or even simply sitting with awareness can change the way we feel and respond. They're signals feeding the brain, saying, "It's safe now, you can open up." So, when you imagine yourself as the lotus, you're not just playing with a metaphor, you're practicing a truth. Your body, your brain, your whole being is built with the capacity to root in difficulty and still rise, still open and still bloom. The lotus always finds a way to rise, but its roots are what make that possible. So, before we move into our flow today, let's take a moment to talk about how you can find your own rooted seat, whatever that may look like for your body today. For this practice, I'll show you some ways that we can use modifications and props. So if you'd like to be on your mat or simply in any stable seated position, go ahead and gather what you might need. We're just going to stay in one spot though, really, for the practice. But if you want to grab some blocks, a strap, or even a scarf, blankets, anything like that, go ahead and hit pause and meet me back here. Okay, friends, so I readjusted a little bit so you can see everything. First, if sitting directly on the floor or a hard surface feels tough, you can place a cushion, pillow, or block underneath you for a little lift, and that elevation makes a big difference. I already got my meditation cushion here. So now let's find your comfortable seat. Sitting with legs crisscrossed, applesauce, is our easy pose. So this is a wonderful one for you to use if it's comfortable. From there, half lotus is bringing a foot up to rest on the opposite thigh. Full lotus is both feet resting on each thigh. Not something for Lauren. Whichever variation works best for your body is wonderful. There is no right version. So I'll be practicing with a half lotus. A few other things that we can take into consideration is our hand placement. You can rest them palms up or down on your knees or closer to your root. Palms up can encourage relaxation in the shoulders and openness through the chest. Palms down can feel like you're pressing your roots into the mud, strong and anchored. Palms up can feel like turning towards the light, opening the bloom. You may even choose to begin rooted and then later throughout the practice, turn your palms upward as you grow into your flower. For our thighs, if your knees or thighs feel strained when we're in these positions, you can slide some blocks right underneath them for support, like this, or blankets, pillows. We will also take some forward folds today. If reaching for your foot may feel out of range, use a strap or a scarf or folded blanket. Infinity scarves, these are great. Gives my foot and my reach some extension. We will also be taking a bound ankle pose, and that's where we bring our feet together. Traditionally, the feet are near the pelvis, but feel free to scoot them forward if that's more comfortable for you. When we're doing the bound angle, instead of just pressing the soles together, try holding your feet, wrapping your hands around the arches, thumbs at the base of the big toes, and gently pressing through the outer edges of your feet. Think of it like you're opening your feet like a book. And again, if reaching feels difficult, you can use your strap or that scarf to get down to your feet. All right, that should cover the basics of what we're working with today. These variations are simply ways of making space for your roots so your bloom can rise with ease. And remember, this is always your practice. Adjust as you need, listen to your body, and choose what helps you feel supported. With that support in place, we can now explore the heart of the lotus practice together. And just like the lotus, we'll start from stillness in the mud. And from there, we'll gently begin to rise as we begin from our seated lotus, half lotus, or easy pose. Close your eyes if it feels safe. Take 3 grounding breaths. Imagine your sit bones rooting down into the soft earth. Just like the lotus, anchoring in the mud. With every inhale, picture light rising through your spine. With every exhale, soften into presence. Take one more deep inhale, and on your exhale, extend your left leg out, keeping the right foot tucked in. Take a nice inhale, lengthen your spine, and as you exhale, fold gently forward over the left leg, reaching for the left foot. No forcing, just bowing forward, bowing towards the sun like the lotus, leaning into light. Stay here for a few deep breaths, letting the muscles relax into this pose. Roots strengthening. Finding your balance between effort and ease. Take a nice inhale, rise up, bringing your left foot back to center. And then with another inhale and an exhale, we're going to extend our right leg, lengthening our spine again in a nice exhale, folding softly forward. If you need to, remember, grab that strap or that scarf to reach for your foot. Notice the difference between the two sides. Just as no two petals are identical, your body expresses each fold in its own way. Take a few breaths here, inviting the lower back to release, to create a welcoming space for nourishment from our roots to rise up. Nice deep breaths, long exhales. On your next inhale, rise up, bringing the right foot to meet the left into bound angle. Spine nice and tall. Let the knees fall wide, holding your ankles or feet or your shins. Inhale, lengthen our spine, drawing energy up your stem, and exhale, hinge forward slightly, softening into openness. Maybe flutter your knees like petals rippling in the water. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl down. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl down. Just hinging slightly forward, not going all the way down. Remember, if you need to place your blocks up under the legs to support them, you can. Inhale, draw that energy up. Exhale, hinge forward. Slightly softening. This is your reminder. The lotus can only bloom when it dares to open. We can't bloom while confined to old patterns and limiting beliefs. Growth asks us to unfold. All right, friend, let's come back to center and stretch both legs out in front. Feet flexed, still pointing up, placing your hands at your sides. Inhale, sitting tall. This is your strong rooted stem. Exhale and fold gently forward over your legs, reaching for your feet. Remember, you can also be on your calves or use your strap or scarf here. Like the lotus, bowing back towards its source. Here, we are keeping our spine lengthened, hinging from the hips, not bending from like the rib cage. Your heart center's reaching for the knees. Your heart center's reaching for the knees. A micro bend in the knees will keep from hyperextension too. Just breathe deeply here and let your body relax into it. Stay for a few breaths. Steady breaths here, in and out. Feel that breath moving through you. All right, friend, with your next inhale, we're going to rise back up to center and tucking our feet back into easy pose or half lotus or full lotus. Let's take a deep cleansing breath here. Notice and appreciate the connection, the connectedness and stillness. Stillness is a part of growth too. Let's move into our stem, drawing the energy up from our roots with some Sufi grinds. These are going to be circles with our upper body. With your hands grounding to your knees, begin to circle your torso slowly to the left. Breathing with the movement, we're going to take an inhale forward to the side, and as we exhale, we're going to rotate our spine backwards, pulling our belly button back to the spine. Exhaling and inhaling back at the front center. So it's going to be a nice deep inhale. Circle around. Exhale. Inhale, heart center side, shine us forward. Exhale, surrender inward. One more round. Inhale forward, side. Exhale back, side. Now let's create that balance. If you were sitting with like your left leg on top or your right leg on top, we're going to switch it up. Take 3 circles now towards the right. Nice deep inhale. Heart center shines forward. We rotate. Exhale, surrendering. Belly button pulling into the spine. Inhale, flow with the breath. And remember, flexibility in body and mind clears space for resilience. Pull that energy up from your roots. Feel the warmth expanding up your abdomen. Take a nice deep inhale. Come back to center, friend. Beautiful friend. Keeping your palms anchored to your knees, let's flow into some seated cat-cows here. With a straight spine, take a nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, we're going to round the back, lowering your head, chin down towards your chest. You're going to tuck your tailbone and draw the navel inwards towards the spine, bowing and honoring the earth. And then we're going to flow with our breath. And on your inhale, arch your back, your petals spreading. Turn your gaze upward, chin tilting up slightly, heart center pressed out forward. Exhale deeply and flow inward, like the petals of the lotus at night closing. Inhale upward, petals open. Exhale, curl one vertebrae at a time, surrendering in, petals closed. Inhale, shine your heart center forward. Exhale, turning inwards, noticing how the flow feels in your body. Inhale, opening up to a reinvigorated beginning. Exhale, release. Inhale, open. And now come back to a neutral spine. With a deep inhale, sit tall. Spread your arms as your petals. Elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. Lift your chest, feeling your heart center expand. This is our cactus. Exhale, press the hands up, arms up by your ears, hands overhead. With your right hand, grasp your left thumb. Inhale here, and on your exhale, lean gently to the left. This is our stem bending with the current, strong yet flexible. Inhale, bring that back to center and switch your grip. Left hand grasping the right thumb. Nice deep inhale, and on your exhale, lean gently to the right. Take a nice deep inhale back to center. Let's switch our hands again. Take a stretch back to the left. Inhale back to center. Switching your grip. Exhale to the right. Notice how balance comes not from symmetry, but from honoring both sides. Inhale back to center. Bring your hands down to your knees. Let's come back to our lotus, full, half, or easy pose. Reset your hands where they feel right. Palms up or palms down. Or maybe resting at your heart center. Maybe this feels right. I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Let's take a few final moments here in our practice to allow this practice to settle and integrate into our being. Feel the weight of your seat anchoring you to the earth like the roots of the lotus, unseen but essential. Your foundation is steady, strong. Above that foundation, notice your spine rising. Imagine it as the stem of the lotus, resilient, reaching, carrying nourishment upward. At the crown of your head, visualize the bloom, not fragile, but alive, radiant, fully itself. Every petal an expression of growth through challenge. Take a slow inhale and sense energy rising up from your root to your crown. Exhale and let any heaviness dissolve back down into the earth through your roots. Inhale strength. Every inhale is nourishment rising through your stem. Exhale, release. Every exhale is space for your bloom. Remember, the lotus is not about perfection, it's about persistence, about finding a way to rise and open, no matter the mud, no matter the waters. The mud is not your enemy, it is your teacher. You are allowed to be rooted and grounded and still reach higher. You are allowed to hold complexity, both the mud and the bloom. When life feels heavy, come back to this image. Steady roots, rising stem, and a bloom that belongs exactly where it is. Blooming looks different for everyone, and that's the beauty. Stay here, friend, for a few more breaths. Rooted, rising, blooming. Friend, your lotus doesn't end here on the mat. It travels with you in your words, in your choices, in the way you show up, rooted, rising, blooming, again and again. I invite you not to dismiss your lotus, but to tuck it somewhere to carry with you, maybe in your heart or in your mind. Now we welcome little movements back into the body, in the fingers and the toes, maybe subtle, gentle neck rolls. One more deep inhale, and friend, as you're ready, flutter your eyes open, coming back to this space with me. Welcome back, friend. Take a moment here to notice how your body feels after this practice. After moving and breathing and rooting into your lotus compared to how you felt first sitting down for this workshop. Does anything feel lighter, warmer, or just maybe a sense of more connectedness, completedness? Let me know in the comments what you think of today's practice. And remember, growth doesn't mean leaving the mud behind. It means transforming through it. The mud is part of your story, and it has been quietly nourishing your strength all along. If you want to take this experience to your journal, maybe reflect on what the mud is in your life that's been feeding and nourishing your growth. And you don't have to set aside a special time like this to reconnect with your lotus. You can certainly save this video and come back to it for deeper visits. But friend, every time you sit down, whether it's in the seat of your car, on a bus, in your living room, or at your desk at work, or at home, imagine your roots are anchoring you and your breath is opening you like a blossom. Let this be a reminder that your lotus is always with you. No matter where you are, the lotus teaches us not to curse the mud. That's where your strength comes from. With roots nourished and anchored, you can bloom again and again. Friend, if today's practice grounded you, give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next archetype in this series. I'll meet you there with another torch to light your path. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you in your practice today and sharing a piece of your day with me, friends. Stay present, stay kind to yourself, and I will see you soon.